Welcome to the Defensive Firearms channel. I'd like to introduce you to my video series, Basic Defensive Firearms Training. First, a little about my background. I'm starting a second career as an instructor in basic defensive firearms training after retiring from a 36-year-long career as an electronics technologist. Coming from a military family, I've moved around a lot, but currently my wife, daughter, son, and I live in Northern California. Besides shooting, my hobbies include studying aviation history, current world affairs, and science and technology. I started shooting about 40 years ago when I qualified with the standard issue M16 rifle and Smith & Wesson Model 15 revolver while serving in the Air Force. For many years since then, I shot firearms mainly for fun, just a few hundred rounds a year. Starting about 8 years ago, I became particularly interested in self-defense shooting so that I could better protect my family. I started attending Front Sight Firearms Training Institute in Nevada, where I have graduated with the handgun and rifle certifications. That's me in the blue jacket going through the rifle course at Front Sight. I attend refresher training at Front Sight every 12 to 18 months, and this video course is largely based upon my training at Front Sight. Here are my training certificates from Front Sight. Now you might be wondering if this video course would be worthwhile, because though I feel I'm proficient with firearms, I'm not a highly experienced expert shooter. I'm only casually interested in shooting in general, and I've never come close to shooting at another human being for any reason, self-defense or otherwise. However, if you are a beginner shooter who's interested in self-defense, I feel that I can identify with your problems and concerns. I still remember when I was a beginner and the trials I went through to become proficient. On the other hand, an expert shooter may possess knowledge, hand and wrist strength, and muscle memory that have been built up over many years of shooting thousands of rounds a year. In other words, what works for him or her may not work for you. My overall goal for this course is to give you a good start, after which it would be a good idea for you to take follow-on training from a professional school like Front Sight, Gun Sight, or one of many others. You might also wonder if it would be a good idea for a beginner shooter to just go straight to a professional school, and many have. But I would not recommend this, because in the course of my training at Front Sight, I've seen many beginner shooters get totally left behind due to the fast and intensive pace of the instruction. To its credit, Front Sight instructors provide extra attention to the beginner shooters. However, I feel that the length of a typical course, which is 2 to 4 days, while fine for an experienced shooter, is too short for a beginner to absorb the information, build up hand and wrist strength, and develop muscle memory. My two basic objectives for this course are: 1. Help the beginner shooter to select one or more defensive firearms, and 2. Introduce the beginner shooter to the fundamentals of defensive firearm shooting with an emphasis on safe gun handling. These are the areas I will discuss in this video course. In Video 1, Why Defensive Firearms Training is Important. Video 2, Cartridge Descriptions. Video 3, 3 types of defensive firearms I feel are most suitable, and why. And then 3A, 3B, and 3C will look at these 3 types of firearms: the double-action revolver, the striker-fired semi-automatic, and the semi-automatic carbine. In Video 4, we'll look at the pros and cons between these 3 types of firearms. In Video 5, I'll cover defensive firearm selection, where I'll help you select one or more firearms that hopefully will work for you. In Video 6, I'll cover safety rules. 7, the modified Weaver stance, which is how you position your feet, torso, and arms as you're shooting. Video 8, sight alignment and sight picture, which is how you aim the firearm. Video 9, trigger control. And 10, dry practice, which is practicing going through the motions of shooting but without live ammunition. In video 11, I'll cover loading and reloading the firearm. Video 12, malfunctions clearing. 13, unloading and clearing the firearm, which means removing any cartridges and making the firearm safe. Video 14, we'll do live fire with live ammunition. And videos 15 and 16, I'll cover a home invasion scenario at night, parts 1 and 2. Again, welcome to my channel. If you are a beginner shooter interested in learning to use a firearm for self-defense, you've come to the right place. The next video to watch is video 1, Why Defensive Firearms Training is Important.